Um, it has been a minute, but I am alive and well. Thank you to the Lord. It has really, truly been a season. It has truly been a season of rest, and I've been doing a lot of journaling more, and I've been doing a lot of reading as well. And one of the stories that I came across recently was it was a story about David in 1 Samuel chapter 13. So there was actually two stories that I read about resting and waiting, but I think I'm gonna do the one that I came across about David. So wait. I should have this together. Sorry. Okay. So this is the story in 1 Samuel chapter 25, and I'm gonna flip to it real quick in case I need some context to give you. So a quick little like recap. So Samuel the prophet just died. Israel's kind of gathering together, and David comes across basically David is in need of some sheep herders. I think that's what it's called. Some sheep shearers. I said herders. Sheep shearers to help like tend to the sheep and whatnot. So he comes across Nabal, and he knows that Nabal basically has a vast amount of things. He has a lot of goods, he has a lot of riches, and he has a lot of sheep shearers and people to help him tend to the things that he needs. So in the story, David is in need of Nabal's help, and he needs access to his sheep shearers. Nabal basically tells David's messengers, like, why should I help you? Who are you? Who are you to ask me of this thing? And David immediately is like, basically goes into war mode. Like, does he know who he's talking to? Like, I'm just gonna take it for myself and get what I need. So David immediately wants to take everything by force, but Abigail, Nabal's wife, intervenes and helps to mediate on behalf of Nabal. Nabal was kind of like very selfish and didn't want to like help anybody out. He was kind of just like, all to myself, I had these things. And so David, basically because of Abigail, she comes to intervene and basically kind of sends like a apology for the way her husband acted, and like, King David, you know, we support you and everything. Basically he's trying to like mitigate the problem by being nice and reciprocating to David that she didn't know why her husband would say those things, because David has basically helped him out before, and vice versa. So David comes to his senses that he shouldn't take it into his hands. And 10 days later, like the very thing that David wanted to do, the Lord handled it for him. And that's where I was kind of getting with all this. So David comes to his senses and he doesn't take matters into his own hands. And 10 days later, Nabal dies by the hand of the Lord. The thing that David wanted to do, which was to kill him and take all his stuff, because why should he feel like belittled by the people that are like underneath him? I mean, he really didn't have that mentality, but the thing that he wanted to do, the Lord takes care of it instead. So Nabal dies by the hand of the Lord. Ironically, the same thing David wanted, God was going to take care of anyways. So all that to say, you know, sometimes we want to rush ahead of God, and sometimes we want to take matters into our own hands because we're impatient with waiting. We don't want to wait. We want things to go a certain way, or we want things to just happen immediately and go according to our plan. And I believe it's in Jeremiah maybe 23. It says his ways are not our ways, neither are his thoughts our thoughts. I don't know if it's 23, but or maybe 43. Or maybe it's Isaiah. It might be Isaiah. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look for that one. That's a good one though. I've been meditating on that one because his ways are not our ways. It's something like, as the heavens are higher than you, so are God's ways. And I'll look for it later, but back to the story that we sometimes want to rush ahead of God, and so did David, even the one that God loved, and the one King David, even him rushes ahead of God, even him. And so God knows our nature as humans. We are not perfect, but I don't know. Holy Spirit, help me out. I think for me in this season, because I get tired of waiting, like, Lord, when am I going to move? When is this house going to come? You said you're taking care of it. And every time I try to put my hand to the motions of like figuring it out, there's this truck that passes by and it says we're taking care of it. Like literally there's the company that's like their phrase, we're taking care of it. And I think because when we don't see things immediately, or when it seems to be like it's not looking too good on our end, but we don't see the whole picture or the whole scope of things, because God's ways are not our ways. And like in that story, the moment that David wanted to rush ahead of God and take matters into his own hands, the thing that he wanted to do, God was going to do anyways. God was going to take care of it anyways, but we want the immediate thing. David wanted the sheep shearers. I'm sorry. I'm like looking at myself like, how the but it's not about me. I wrote down, sometimes when things don't go our way, we would like to rush and put them in our own hands and try to make it happen the way we would like. And that's when we start stepping into the role of God, and we are not God. Even though we would like to be, but even when we try to play the role of God, we stress ourselves out because we don't have the strength and the capacity to do it like God. He doesn't get tired, we get tired. He doesn't get overwhelmed, we do. We're trying to play a role that does not fit us at all. And I'm talking to myself too, because I do the same thing. I do the same thing David did. I do the same thing David does sometimes, and I forget. He's on the throne. God is on the throne, and I need not worry because he's taking care of it. I hope this is encouragement for somebody, though. Waiting is not easy. Waiting is not easy. Waiting and resting and trusting that God is going to work it out when all your circumstances say otherwise. When people say, you still haven't found a place to live yet? Oh, aren't you like supposed to be looking for places? Like, how are you going to afford that? It's too much, it's too pricey. Rent. Everybody in your ear saying all the things that God basically can't do because of all of what they're saying. And I'm still trusting him because he said he's going to take care of it. That means he's going to take care of it. He does not lie. He's not a man that he should lie. I know we are flesh and we are human and we like to look at the physical, but God is not a liar. We can't trust our hearts or our minds sometimes because they play tricks on us, and the enemy uses that to make us waver in our faith. I feel like I'm rambling, but it's my bedtime reminder. See y'all later.